Welcome to week number 2, session 2. This session is about how we're going to texture this sword asset inside of 3D Substance Painter. This week, ask all the students to make sure they reach out to the coordinator to get access to Substance 3D Painter. Okay? So that's one of your first thing that you need to get. So this is where we left off in our UV or in our introduction to Substance Painter video. As I said, how to move around in Substance Painter is just the same way you move around in Maya. Okay. Oh, I like to go up here and change this to 3D only. That way I have more screen space to move around and texture the sword. Before you start texturing, the very first thing you need to do is to click on this bread icon here. It's going to bring up the bake window. We want to click on here. We want to change it to 4K. We want to use low poly as high poly, and then you go bake selected textures. So you just have to wait until the baking process is done. Okay, I think okay. Have some kind of arrow here. Okay, I'm gonna cancel my bake because I don't know what's going on here. So I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna open up this back again. I'm gonna discard. So I reopen up back my Substance Painter file. I'm gonna go edit, setting, and then I'm gonna it might work for you, but I'm gonna turn off. Okay, I'm looking for I'm looking for okay, so I start over the file and everything. Apparently, you have to make sure Photoshop or Maya or even Unreal Engine is not open when it's not open the same time you have Substance Painter open. Okay, so you want to go to this big icon here, click on this here. Then you want to change this to 4K. Turn on use here, and then you're going to hit bake. And then you have to wait until it bakes. So you have to wait on this. While it's baking, you see this little bar filling out. You just have to wait on that. Now that it's done baking, the blue bar is filled out. You click on return to paint, and here we are. So before you start painting texture, you're gonna ask yourself, what do I want my sword to look like? So remember the reference that we have. I'm gonna right click and make this always on top. So the one that I'm going for is literally this sword here. So I'm gonna look for the metal for the blade. So how to do that? You want to go to smart material, and then we're gonna look for some kind of metal. So you could type in the search here metal, and you see a whole variety of metal here. Remember, I'm trying to go for this. Remember that. There is steel. I want to go for a steel ruin, so I'm going to click and drag it and drop it here. I actually like the steel ruin because it's kind of like an old sword, as you can see. If you want to notice, if you want to show how the light interacts with your object, you hold down shift, right mouse button, click and drag, and you see how the light interact with your shader. I feel like I like this for maybe the handle, so I'm just gonna go back and get a regular steel and drop it here. So I like this for the blade. And so I'm just gonna call this blade name. Remember, I like to rename everything. I like to name things, so for example, if I don't show up to work one day, other artists will know. So but I would like this for the blade, but I don't want this for the handle. I don't want this for the handle or the guard. I have a different plant type of metal texture for that. So I literally need to right click on this and create a black mask. So right click on the folder, create a black mask. Then you go over to your left hand side and you click on polyfill. You're gonna click on the checker pattern here. Then you're gonna click on the blade. As soon as you click on the blade, you notice that only the blade on the back, you have to click on the front and the back, by the way. You notice that only the blade, I'm going to click on my brush tool. You notice that only the blade got selected. If you look on this blade pattern, you notice there's some patterns going into here. For this particular steel, there's some pattern goes, like you can see them, right? I need to change that. So this is where you open up the folder. And you can move this up. I think the edge is not the problem. I think the roughness is not the problem. I think the surface detail is not the problem. I think the base is the problem. And this is one where I call the brush here. This one and this one. So this, you can select it by here, and then you need to go to attributes here. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to select this. Maybe if I select this and go rotation, let's say 90, it's not gonna work. No, I'm gonna press 0 here. So I'm trying to look for, because I need to rotate the brush intensity thing, so like that. I could probably create, parameters random here. No, it says restore to default. Okay, I'm trying to see if I could. There's no properties to rotate this. How about the fill? The fill has it, so the fill is here, and I could crank up this like so for the fill. And this is if you specifically you can use other metal texture, up to you. And this one I'm gonna go to rotate, and I need to type it 90, kind of like that. Kind of like that. And I need to maybe kind of like that too, like that. And maybe I don't need it to be so intense. So just like in Photoshop, you could play around with the layer intensity. So maybe I just want it slight. Okay, very slight, just like that. Then I'm going to turn on the surface detail that comes with the shader. This is if you this is if you choose the regular steel, and you don't want to overdo it. Might want to just follow along with what I'm doing. So I'm going to click on the roughness. Roughness is good. See that? And then the edge damage. The edge damage, you could click on here, and you could click on the material editor, and then you could just crank up the edge damage information. So you see like the little damage to the edge, kind of like this sword has been through, battle. So this is what we get with this from the smart material. This is how the smart material operates. Okay, and I'm gonna save my file. So I think I'm done with the blade, but I'm not really done with it yet. You could add more stuff on top of this. Okay, so I'm gonna add like some dirt. So like a dirt. So I'm gonna add like a fill here, and I'm gonna go to the properties here, scroll up, and I'm gonna call this, name it dirt. I'm then going to right click on it, create a black mask, right click on the black mask, create a generator, and I'm going to go inside here, click on here, and I'm going to get one called dirt here. And then you could change the dirt color to like anything you want. So you could, I don't want my dirt to be so red, but I could make it like dark. Very dark, kind of like that. And then I could play around with go back to the dirt here, the dirt generator, and I could play around with the dirt level, how dirty I want this. Okay, so I could say, well, I want like less dirt or more dirt. So you could even make it, it's up to you, kind of like that. And yeah, all right, I could play around with the dirt level, crank it up. Grunge amount, I could make it grungy, kind of like that. And it's a lot of tweaking parameters, as you can see. All right, I'm gonna click on the dirt, and I'm gonna play around with the opacity here. And I'm just gonna drop it down slightly, so it's not overpowering my sword, and it looks good. Now we could add some more things to this blade, give it some more character. I'm gonna create another fill, and I'm gonna call this engravement. I'm gonna turn on the height. I'm gonna crank the height value, drive the slider to like the left. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create a black mask. Then I'm gonna right click and create a paint layer. Then I'm simply gonna go to alpha, and I'm gonna just delete the metal that I have right here. So I'm gonna go to the alpha, no, right here, and I'm gonna find something that makes sense to my blade. And you know that you could create your own black and white stamp and put it in this here. You could double click on here, and then all of a sudden you have this stamp on here. But you have to do something else to the brush while you select the brush. I don't want any spacing, and I want to scale this down very tiny, and then I just want to like place that like that. You notice that it's very bumpy. You could go back to your shader and you could say, hey, I don't want it to be so bumpy. I just want it to be very subtle, kind of like that. And then maybe the color, you want it to be black, kind of like so. Indent. All right. Okay. And then you go back to the indent thing, then click on the paint layer. Then you could continue just adding stuff to your. So I'm just clicking and adding, and you could choose any one of these black and white things here to create your pattern. So you just click that. You can make your sword unique. Click that. You can click that, and then it's not so prominent, but you can select this here and you can just crank it like so, kind of like so. So that's my sword. I could even go to the back and click on here and just turn around the light by holding on shift and right click and hold, and then I'm just clicking, just click. Okay, so that's it for the sword. I'm going to rotate my lights like that. Okay, so that's the pattern that I want on my sword. Next thing I want, so I'm going to just name this pattern. You notice I name every single thing, because what if somebody needs to access my file? So I'm going to right click, create another paint layer right here, and then in here I could select my brush, and I could get some scratches. I'm looking for scratches, so okay, like this, like these, like so. And all I could do is just use my bracket key on my keyboard, and I could just, like, you know, click. Maybe scale it down more. Okay, I'm not really seeing. Okay, maybe press X. X. Okay. How about I pick something else? Okay. So it has to be stronger. So I'm gonna pick the scratches. I'm gonna pick in the brush properties here. I'm gonna go to jitter. So I'm gonna play around with the jitter, flow jitter, and I'm just gonna click my sword. I'm gonna make this smaller with the bracket key, just like in Photoshop, and I'm just gonna, like, click. I'm gonna pick some more scratches so I could, you know, flow, maybe space in. It's very subtle, as you can see. Anyways, I think my sword blade is done. I'm gonna go file, save. The very next piece I want to create is the guard. So I have this material here. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna double click, and I'm gonna call it guard. And I'm gonna right click and create a black mask. Then I'm gonna go to the polyfill tool here, and I'm just gonna just click and drag and select the guard. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go back to my brush tool. So the guard is like that. Okay, and I'm gonna go and click on open up this folder. This stuff has a lot of stuff that I like in here, so it already have a lot of things that I like in here. Okay, so I have a lot of things right out the back, and this one is, if I go to the smart material, type in metal. This one is one of these steel ruin. This one, steel ruin. All right, this one I use. You could experiment with the others, but every time you drag one and put over here, just remember that you have to go in there and fix up. I like what I right out the back there. Maybe the dirt, the occlusion. Maybe I need to change it to match that color. Like that. So maybe it's the same kind of rusting going on there, so just decide to make sure it's like continue on, right? And just like that, guys, we're have some really cool stuff in here. Bump. I'm gonna create another fill layer. I'm gonna call this pattern. I'm gonna play around with the height. I'm gonna crank the height to this way. I'm gonna right click and create, I'm gonna just say bump pattern graphics, because I'm gonna put like some kind of fancy stuff there. I'm gonna just delete that. I'm gonna right click here and create a black mask. Then I'm going to right click and create a paint layer, and then my brush is selected. Click on one of these alphas and I'm looking for something cool. So I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna say I don't want spacing. You have to look at the properties when you select a brush. So here, and you don't want spacing here. You don't want flow jitter. You don't want angle jitter. You don't want size jitter, because when I put this here like so, I don't want it to you know, yeah, so I put that there, and I also could put this one here. Put that one there too, just like that. I'm gonna put a different icon maybe on these here. So this one you have to definitely figure out position jitter. Make sure once you fix that, it's gonna stamp, and you're gonna create one there. You're gonna create one there. You're gonna click, and you're gonna create one here. One here, and you click, and you create one there. Now we're gonna have to go to the shader, and we're gonna have to play around with the you know, and then maybe you want a color. You want the color to be like a black, or like darker. Here we go, just like that. Alright, cool, nice, and save your scene. I think that this piece could use a little bit of metal in there, so I'm going to click on the guard here. I'm going to click on the guard, and then get the polyfill tool, and then I'm going to choose a different filler for this. I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to select here. I'm going to actually open up the hold on, give me 2 seconds. Here I'm going to check out the 2D view, and I think it's this part that I want. So I'm going to just select like so. Just click and drag. Remember, this one has to be selected, guys, to do this. So select that, and you select that, and you keep on selecting it. Alright, select that. Okay, just like that, we have the guard has the metal, so we're gonna go back here and go 3D only, and just like that, we're gonna go on to here, and just like that, we have that. I think so we could probably put this part here in like the blade. So I'm gonna select the blade, the mask for it, gonna click on a polyfill tool. Gonna click on this one here, and I'm gonna select this and that. Okay, then I'm gonna go brush tool. Alright, remember this also has some kind of engravement on it, so I'm gonna go in here, and I'm going to click on the engravement, right click, add another paint layer inside the engravement thing, because the engravement is this basically. Then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get probably this, double click, and I'm just gonna put this to make it. Also, you have to make sure none of these jitters are affected. So I'm going to click here, like so. And then I'm going to click here, like so. Just like that. Alright. And then I could go to my brush and I could select a hard brush, this one, basic one. And I could just scale down the brush size, and all I could do, I could just click here, click, and I could make, you could literally just draw in like a pattern. I just kind of have like an idea how I would like mine, so maybe yours will be like a different, but I thought that, you know, just like that. And then we go to the other side too and add it just like that. Just like that. Okay, so now you can save your scene. Okay, cool. So I think the handle is done. So now we just have to fix. We have to create something, maybe like a leather handle for the handle here. So how do we find it? We're gonna go back to our smart material. I'm just gonna type in leather, and there's quite a few leather here. So there's this leather rough here. And I'm just gonna, you could choose any letter you want actually. There's this one here. I like this. So I'm gonna click that and drag it and drop it. As soon as I drop it, you notice it's like so awesome already. But we're not just gonna do a drag. We're not gonna be a drag and drop artist, right? So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna call this handle. I'm gonna right click and create a white mask, and then I'm going to click on the polyfill tool, and I'm gonna actually hold on Alt and I want you to click Alt and left mouse button click, and it kind of show you the mask. So now I'm gonna select here, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna press X on the keyboard. I don't want this to be leather. I don't want this to be leather, and I don't want that to be leather. I don't even want, I'm gonna click on here. I don't even want this piece to be leather either, so make sure you select this one and you just simply go around and just, I don't know if you understand the logic of masking, but that's exactly what we're doing right now. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So how to get back to your material? You press M on the keyboard and then go back to your brush tool, and there we go. We got our leather. We're gonna open up our leather. We're gonna turn off all these. We're gonna say the color, maybe the color is too dark, so I'm gonna just increase this and turn on the leather pattern. Leather pattern, maybe the leather pattern is too big, so you could click on the leather pattern itself. This is if you choose this one here, right? And you could play around with the tiling, so you could tile it some more, like so. All right. You could even play around with the intensity, so you could play around how intense you want it. Dirt, kind of like that, and then the damage kind of like that. I think I could push this a little bit more. I could add some edge wear, so I'm going to click on polyfill tool. Let's call this edge wear, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a black mask. Right click on the black mask, add a generator, right select here, and I'm going to choose this one called metal edge wear. As soon as I add that, you notice something's up. I'm going to click on the edge wear color and I'm going to pick the leather, but I'm going to choose like a lighter leather piece here, like so, kind of like that, just like that. So, and another thing I could do, I could even click on the edge wear and the editor, and I could say I want it to be like that, or I want it to be very limited, like very I could even scroll down here and say grunt scale, I want it like that. I could say edge, ambient occlusion masking, I could play around with that too. And then I could go back here and maybe not make it so saturated, but just like tweak it down, maybe make it dark, kind of like that, and there you go. It's kind of like somebody's been holding the handle kind of thing, so it kind of create that kind of effect on it. Alright, so I'm gonna press save. Okay. So now I'm gonna create a folder in here called inside my scene file. I'm gonna create one called renders. So I'm just creating that folder. Then we're gonna save our file, and then after we save our file, we're gonna save as, because you already know that we like to have multiple versions of things. So this is gonna be version 2, and we have version 1 there. So in case one get corrupted, one gets spoiled, we have everything. In order to render in Substance Painter, for your assignments, how you're gonna present your work and stuff like that, we're gonna use Substance Painter as renderer. To get to Substance Painter renderer, we're gonna click on this camera icon here, It's called the array render. So here we are. Alright. I don't want you to show me this background here, so I'm gonna click on here. Is it environment? I'm gonna click to color like so, and ground. Okay, I'm gonna make the ground still stand there. Okay, you could choose to make it like the ground, like kind of like so. All right. Okay, so the only thing we did, we click on here and we click the environment to color, and we choose a ground. Okay, that's all we did here. All right. Now we're gonna render out images. So I'm gonna copy this render location folder here. So I'm gonna zoom in like so, and I'm gonna, you could rotate the light by creating, just hold on, you hold on alt, no, shift and right, shift and right mouse button, hold it down. So I actually like that camera angle, and yeah. So the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna go to save render here, and I'm gonna paste the location I want to save this in. I'm gonna call this render underscore 01 dot png. I could choose a png here. PNG, you can choose PNG here. Yeah, choose a PNG. PNG is a transparent, it's gonna create transparent background. So I'm gonna save that. Alright, that's one. I'm gonna zoom in more, like so. And I'm gonna zoom in, and then I'm gonna create another render. Just click on save. I'm gonna call this render 02, and then you could go out again, like that. You can rotate your light again. Then you're gonna click on here, and you're gonna say render 03, and save that. So now, how I want you to present this, I'm gonna minimize this and minimize here, and launch Photoshop. Okay, so these three images that's saved, okay, Photoshop is open. Then I'm gonna open up all three images. So I'm gonna get this open. Okay. Alright, cool. So the first thing I like to create is a background. So I'm going to create a color. I'm going to make it like 50%. Like so. I'm going to drop that here. And for this image, I like to press the eraser tool, get the soft one, like a soft eraser. Soft brush. And I like to just erase like so. And this, I like to just right click and create a smart, convert to smart object. Just move this over here. You can choose to scale it down a little bit, just a little bit, so it's like that. Okay. I'm gonna press E again. I'm gonna rasterize this a little bit. I'm gonna press E just to like, kind of like that. Then I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna select this sword, Control A, copy it. Gonna press Control V to paste it. Then this one, I'm gonna press E on the keyboard, and I'm just gonna like erase some of the shadow, and I'm gonna just press my move tool and move this over here, kind of like so, and scale it. Alright, and you can close that. Last but not least, up close, so Control A, Control C to copy it, Control V to paste here, and I'm gonna just move this like so, and press E on the keyboard and just erase the shadow for that. Okay, I'm gonna select all three of these and press Control G, group it. I'm just gonna call this swords, and the next thing I'm gonna do is create a select here and create a curves. I'm gonna go between here, hold on Alt and click, so that it only affects the sword group, and then I'll just go like this and brighten that up a little more. Alright, I could move my other swords together here, and move that kind of like so. Alright, okay, cool. Alright, so the next move I want to do is obviously create my name. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to just, maybe I can make the background for this darker, so I'm going to click on here and maybe make it 70% or maybe 30%, like that. 30% gray. Maybe make it 20. So so the sword pops more, 20% gray, and press OK. Okay. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna so then you put your name. You could put assignment 1. You can put assignment 1. You can scale this down. Like that. Then you could hit here and you press Alt and left button, click and drag. It duplicates it. Sword. Okay. Maybe I need to go back here and make sure these are like that. Click on that. So just like that. Just like that. And then so I'm gonna select both of these, and I feel I could scale them up. And maybe just stack them on each other like so, and select both of them. Move them up. Okay, kind of like so. Okay. Yeah. And then maybe I'm going to duplicate the assignment. Just type in and just put your name. You can put your name somewhere. You know, kind of like that. This one, I'm gonna just make this black, kind of like that, and I can move this up with the arrow key. I'm not really a graphic designer or anything. I'm just trying to present this. So kind of like that. And that's it. You could save this. And then you will save like a a JPEG or a PNG, and then you will just go like this. So you go File, Save As, Sword Renders, underscore, assignment underscore 1 underscore Wayne Carnegie. So that's how you will do your file that you're going to be calling, and then what you're going to save it as. I'm going to go for a PNG. I'm going to hit save. Okay, this is going to come up and you hit save. Okay, after that, then you hit save, and then when we go here, here's the file that said Sword Renders assignment 1 Wayne Carnegie. Okay, and here is the sword asset that we created. Okay, so good luck and take care. Remember, this is week number 2. Please complete at least the texturing before next class. Next class is week number 3. I want all the sword stuff supposed to be done this week. Next week I will show you guys other things, so I just wanted you to wrap up this sword assignment this week. Thank you very much and take care.